Hello, and welcome to the continuing Conversation Starter series with the Jewish Museum Milwaukee. I'm Molly Dubin, and I'm the curator at JMM. And I am thrilled to be talking today with the former Israeli emissary to Milwaukee and the Milwaukee Jewish Federation, Amit Yaniv-Zehavi. Hi, Amit, how are you?
Hi. I'm
It's
good.
so wonderful to be talking with you. So today we are going to be talking about, which of course is incredibly fitting, Yom Ha'atzmaut, Israel Independence Day. So this year, 2020, marks the 72nd anniversary of Israel becoming a state. And we know that this year looks different, obviously. So the first thing I'd love for you to talk about is there are some differences between how the holiday is celebrated in the United States versus how it's celebrated in Israel. Can you talk to us about that a little bit?
Sure. I think the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that Memorial Day in Israel is just the day before Independence Day, which means the transition is very abrupt. And for a lot of people, that's difficult, but it's a continuing reminder of the price that we paid for our independence and the price we continue to pay for our security and safety. So I think that's one major difference. Your Memorial Day and your 4th of July are not back to back.
Right.
So that's one major difference. I want to also say that I was very surprised the first time I encountered Israeli Jewish communities overseas celebrating Israel Independence Day. I went to London with a group of 5th graders, and I went to a Jewish day school in Finchley, London, and I was so moved that Israel is celebrated overseas. That was my first big encounter with something like that. And I, as well, I wanted to just say that in Milwaukee, I was surprised that your committees start working on that in August. That's way, way in advance.
Right.
So just, that's something that's not to be taken for granted. I think one major difference, again, is that you really can't avoid knowing that it's a festive day here because all the radio stations and all the television stations are going to broadcast, songs and programs that have to do with independence. And people wear blue and white. And Israeli homes are all decorated with Israeli flags. Cars are decorated. Streets and in between municipalities, there are Israeli flags hanging. So it's very, very hard to ignore. You can't just say, oh, it's Independence Day today. I kind of feel it coming also.
And of course,
yeah.
And of course, Yom Ha'atzmaut is, the third in the series, which are referred to as the Yamims, which really are so important when you talk about the journey of the Jewish people. So to kind of go from Yom HaShoah to Yom HaZikaron to Yom Ha'atzmaut to, celebrating this amazing independence and all it took to get there makes it an incredible day for everyone involved. So as we kind of talked about earlier, we know that this year looks different for a lot of reasons. Yom Ha'atzmaut in Israel is a real family day, and often people are outside, they're gathering, there are concerts, there's parades, picnics, you're going into national parks. And this year, that really isn't possible. Those large gatherings aren't taking place at all. So what is kind of unique this year, and what are some of the unique approaches that are being taken to this celebration?
Well, I think the first big thing that we do every year is to light 12 torches, symbolizing the 12 tribes. And that's usually both broadcast live and attended by 5,000 people. It's very hard to get tickets to that event. This year, it's going to be broadcasted live, but with an empty audience. And just to mention 3 people that were chosen to light the torches this year, one of them is Idan Reichel, that everyone knows. It's usually, there's like one for medicine and one for culture and different accomplishments. There's Lori Palatnik, who is one of the founders of Momentum. She's lighting a torch, and she's lighting the diaspora torch.
Wow.
And there's also Professor Galia Rahav, who's in charge of the infectious disease unit in Sheba Medical Center. So that's a special connection this year to Corona, the fight against Corona. Another big thing that we usually have and costs a lot of money is the military flyover. So you usually even see the planes practicing. It's very, very expensive. I think like 1 hour of one of these planes is like $40,000.
Wow.
So this year, they didn't cancel it completely. It's going to be only 4 planes, and they're going to fly over medical centers also to hear the medical staff.
How wonderful and how fitting.
Yeah, that was very special. We have fireworks, and a lot of cities decided to cancel them this year. They thought it was too, expensive and not nice to spend a lot of money, where a lot of people are now unemployed and everything. My kibbutz is actually doing fireworks. People will be watching them from the porches. So we'll see how that goes. In terms of barbecuing, it's very big here, both in the evening before and the day of. I heard about one kibbutz that's doing a special thing. They're giving out to each family a barbecue kit. And then at a certain time, I think it's like noon, everyone's going to barbecue, and there's going to be a drone flying above and photographing everyone barbecuing at the same time. So I thought that was a little, original and inventive to have.
Very special, very special.
Maybe have people feel like they're together, even though they're each in their own corner. There's also all kinds of competitions. If you decorate your house, then people will see it. You have to send in your picture, and the best decorated house is going to get a prize. That was another fun idea. There usually flag marches where, in our kibbutz, we do it with women. We usually walk around and have about 45 women with flags. So this year we're going to walk in pairs of 2, and we'll have our masks on, and we'll walk around the kibbutz through the neighborhoods. And, it's not giving up on the idea completely, but it's making sure we're going according to protocol. So I think that was a nice idea. There are all kinds of things that are going around on WhatsApp and social media, all kinds of competitions, quizzes, Kahoots, puzzles that have to do with Yom Ha'atzmaut. I think Startup Nation, so people are working away on creative ideas to still do things that, competitions that have to do with the history of Israel. Just now we had a talk with our steering committee. I'm now partnership director for the Yoav and Lehigh Valley partnership.
Wonderful.
So yesterday we had a Zoom where everyone shared their favorite place in Israel and why they want to go there. So that was sort of like a little takeoff on, still celebrating the country. Concerts. Usually there are a lot of live free concerts wherever you go. When I grew up in Rehovot, we used to just walk around town, ride our bicycles, and go from one concert to the next. People would bop you on the head with a annoying hammer made of, didn't really hurt, but it was annoying. So obviously we can't walk around between concerts, but there'll be a lot of live streamed concerts of Israeli singers, and I'm sure you guys can join in on some of those. I even saw a link to Israeli folk dancing Zoom. I'll send it to you if you want to share that. And in 1948, when the state was established, then a lot of people spontaneously went into the streets and danced. So that's why we still do that every year. I personally love folk dancing. It's going to be kind of weird to folk dance by myself in the living room. I'll try that. People also like to sing Israeli songs together, drink wine. So again, that'll probably happen over Zoom, and we'll have to pretend that we're doing it together.
That sounds like some amazing, unique approaches. So you talked a little bit about, what's going on your kibbutz, and I'm interested to know a little bit, obviously, what celebrations look like on the kibbutzim versus in, some of the more urban centers, and even, the differences in the urban centers. What traditionally happens in Jerusalem versus Tel Aviv. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, what we usually do is we meet the night of, and someone reads sort of like what changed between last year and this year, what accomplishments the state had. We always say how many new members of the kibbutz there are, how many babies were born. It's also like a celebration of what's new in our kibbutz. And we usually sing together, dance together, drink wine, have a barbecue, have fireworks. And everyone does wear blue and white. We have, it's called a rondo, where little kids decorate their bicycles in blue and white and ride around. That's very festive too. So, I think we usually celebrate it as a community. It's one of those days of the year where you feel very close. And actually, our kibbutz has a special tradition on the day of Yom Ha'atzmaut. The teenagers create a makeshift homemade amusement park for the younger.
Oh my.
Yeah, and it includes like Tarzan, like zip lines, and all kinds of agricultural wheels that you can kind of roll in, and hay, and you kind of glitch down the hill with soap and water. They give out ice cream. There's a lot of good music going on, and that's very well attended, including always everyone who left the kibbutz comes back on that day with their kids. And that's always very special. So obviously this year that's not going to happen. And even the teenagers who work day and night for about a week to put that up are really disappointed, because they love doing that as well. And you wait every year until you're also like the one who's going to put it together. And in cities, it's mostly very, very like a huge night market, I guess, like you have in Milwaukee, the night market. There's like, food sold and music and people just walking around bumping into each other. It's very festive. But I think it's less personal once it's in a big city.
So let me ask you, you mentioned barbecues are a huge thing. Are there other special foods that people really like to eat, or, meals that people like to prepare, or are traditions that are part of Yom Ha'atzmaut?
I'd pretty much say it's in the meat. And it's into barbecuing. That's like the biggest thing. Falafel, which is, very Israeli food. This year on our kibbutz, there's going to be an option to buy your own falafel and beer.
Very important.
Yeah. So there's no other food that comes to mind that's special for Yom Ha'atzmaut.
So it's really about, as we talked about, family and unity, which right now is of the utmost importance. Even though we're isolated, this holiday is about unity and about the importance of the Jewish people and their journey. And so does this year hold, do you think, special importance for the Israeli people and for the state when we think about, the individuals and families who are isolated, and that added layer of, being able to show and observe that unity?
Yeah, I think, I actually think that the way the government is handling this makes me feel proud this year of our government, with everything that's going on and all the difficulties. I think Israel is right now, touch wood, one of the safest places to be. And this is the time to be proud of all our medical staff and people trying to come up with a vaccination and everything like that. So I think that kind of makes us feel like we're in the right place and we're okay right now. And even though this is very surprising, Israelis are going by the rules more or less. Like, in Italy, when everyone was kind of like, let's meet anyway. People are very, they go by the book, they wear the masks, the gloves, wait 2 meters from each other, which is especially difficult for Israelis to stand so far apart. So I think it's a bit of a source of feeling safe in this time.
That's amazing.
One of the hard things was to be away from our soldiers. Our son Yonatan was away for about 7 weeks, and all my friends, sons and daughters in the army are away for like almost 2 months, and that's really difficult, but we know it's also keep them safe, to make sure that no one gets sick on inside army bases.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you are an artist, we also know as well. We had some wonderful opportunities to work together on some projects. And I know you mentioned that there traditionally are parades and competitions with parades. You mentioned that there are decorating of houses and children decorating their bikes. Are there any kind of special art competitions that are taking place in lieu of the parade competition?
I haven't seen any art competitions that have to do specifically with Yom Ha'atzmaut. Although this would be a good time to resume the art because there's a lot of free time. And I promise to post if I end up doing that. But no, I haven't seen anything special that has to do with that. There's a lot of free, like you can go into museums and do these virtual tours and stuff. So I've noticed that as well as in Israeli museums. So that's a fun thing that I didn't mention before that people can do.
Which is terrific. I saw that as well, in addition to all the traditional things that happen, that people often go to museums. So having some of those virtual opportunities is terrific to be able to connect not only with the artwork, but the history and everything that you would normally experience physically, you can do that online.
Right.
Which is...
We did have one thing we initiated here. It's not directly connected to Yom Ha'atzmaut, but we gave out a square piece of white cloth for each family to embroider and decorate with their family name and what characterizes them. And we're going to collect those and do like a prayer flag that we can display during different festivities here.
That's wonderful. What
that's really something you can do at home without, and still be safe.
Absolutely. And we see so many people kind of revisiting some of their interests in different creative endeavors because this is a time that is allowing for that to happen. And also it's a great means of expression during a time that can be really challenging and stressful. So to be able to come together, whether you're with your family or by yourself and, to create something that represents this unique moment in time is really terrific.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you this. You did important work for the Milwaukee Jewish Federation. The Shlichim program has been a vital part of connecting Milwaukee and other communities around the world to Israel. And in Milwaukee, that's been over 40 years. I know our friends and community, oh, look at the cat. Love the cat. Would love to know what you have going on now. What are you working on?
So I'm in charge of the Yoav Regional Council with Lehigh Valley partnership. Actually, a lot of the great things we were working on were just canceled. The Women from Momentum, we were supposed to have 12 women over with 5 women from Yoav joining them for 8 days. That's not happening. And we were supposed to send 14 to summer camp. Yesterday we pulled the plug on that one. And we were actually, as we speak, I was supposed to be in Lehigh Valley doing the joint steering committee. So that's why we went over and did it on Zoom. But in general, it's really the same thing I did before Shlichut and during Shlichut, and it's connecting Jewish communities overseas. I feel like that's my mission in life, and I love it. And I loved every moment of the Shlichut. It felt meaningful, and you guys are just really amazing Jewish community.
Well, we felt so thankful to have you and to be able to continue our relationship with you and your family, and of course the partnership region and the entire state. Are there some things coming up that you want to share with the community that we should be on the lookout for?
You know, once we can come back and visit, I'd love to. My daughter Neta is supposed to come to Interlaken, and now that there are direct flights to Chicago, it's a lot easier, but I'm not, you know, sure that that's going to even happen. No, you know, I'd love to be part of any programs that you can use me overseas and still be part of you, because I don't feel like it was just 3 years and that's it. I'm happy to, you know, I'm in touch with a lot of people and I love that connection.
Yeah, that's wonderful things about the Shlichut program is that we become so close with the people that come into our lives and with their families, and that relationship continues. And I know when there are missions to Israel, that's one of the first things that happens is reconnecting with those emissaries and getting to re-know and become reacquainted with one another. And so the missions are something else, obviously, that have been canceled in the wake of everything. So I know that our community is very much looking forward to being able to, again, physically, you know, have that experience and connect with the community in Israel. So
I also think that because there are strong connections already, then it's easier to maintain them, you know, over Zoom, WhatsApp, and all those other options, because it's there and it'll withhold this trying time and go back to normal. I did forget to mention the G2 program. I got to meet them when they were here in December, great bunch of families, and I think they're planning to come back again next December. So that's really a good, you know, thing that is going on and coming up.
That's terrific. So just as we're kind of wrapping up this great conversation, what are you and your family personally going to be doing to celebrate Yom Ha'atzmaut and you and your neighbors at the kibbutz there?
So I'm going to be part of the flag march that I mentioned. I volunteered for that. We decorated our porch. I went and got meat for the barbecue. And although Yonatan is now in the ocean, he won't be with us. He's on his ship. So we're going to barbecue and probably play Katan. I don't know if you have that.
I'm not. What is Katan?
Katan, it's like a Monopoly style game that's very in here.
Okay. Very
probably
good.
watch Netflix and and also, you know, Fauda and stuff, and probably watch what they're going to broadcast live, because, you know, there's a lot of good programs. A lot of effort is put into that.
Absolutely. Well, it sounds like a great combination of unique spins on older traditions and fun, as well as, you know, the importance and marking the significance of this huge holiday and all that it represents. So we so appreciate your taking time to talk with us and giving us some insight into what Yom Ha'atzmaut is going to look like this year, which is going to be starting in a few hours, right?
Well, a few hours is Yom HaZikaron, and then 24 hours from tonight.
Exactly, yeah. Exactly.
And let's hope this is not the new normal, but just a one-time crazy year.
Absolutely. Here's to that. So, Amit, it's been fantastic talking with you, and we'll look forward to checking in and hearing more about what's going on in Israel and how we can continue to connect and maintain this important relationship. So,
thank you, Molly, and I hope everyone stays safe and healthy in your community.
And the same, we hope the same for you, your family, and all of our friends in Israel. So thanks so much. And we'll look forward to seeing you, if not physically, on Zoom again very soon. And best Yamim's remembrance and celebration to you and to everyone. Thanks. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.